Hi friends! Happy Monday. This past week I read a whole bunch. I read quite a few manga and I read one novel in I think 2 days. I did a lot of reading. I read a lot in Japanese and a little bit in English. So let's get to talking about everything that I read. I was trying to do it as a my favorite to least favorite, but I did have a favorite this past week. I didn't really have a least favorite. I liked pretty much everything that I read. So let's just talk about everything. I'm doing a slight change in how I do these reading recaps. Previously, I would talk about the book. I would give a brief summary, a brief summary of the book, and then I would talk about my readings. But I feel like I'm yapping too much in those videos. So instead, I'm just going to be talking about how I felt about the book, and then I will make a dedicated, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll make a dedicated recap video for each of the series that I'm reading. And the first one that I read is volume 15 of Colette Decides to Die, or Colette wa shinu koto ni shita. In English, this is a Viz Media Shoujo Beat series. In Japanese, this is a Hana to Yume series. This is my all-time favorite shoujo series, so obviously this was my favorite. I will say I did not enjoy volume 14 as much as I thought I would. I think volume 14 was actually my least favorite in the entirety of the series. So I put it on pause just a little bit because I was really worried that I would continue to dislike the upcoming volumes. I was kind of sad. Thankfully, I liked volume 15. And I don't want to do any big spoilers because while this is being published in English, volume 15's contents are not out in English yet. So I want to keep it kind of broad, kind of vague so that I don't spoil it for any other Colette lovers. But the reason I didn't like 14 was because there were a couple new characters added in 13 and 14. And in 14, one of them just I really don't like him. I really, really don't like him. He's my least favorite character in the series by far. And though he does make an appearance in this volume as well, it's not as much. He appeared with 3 other new characters who are kind of like his caretakers. And in volume 14, all of them kind of just annoyed me. Thankfully, though, in volume 15, they're kind of redeemed and they're given a reason to be in the story, I'll say. And I think it's a really good reason. I do think they have a purpose. I think they fit within the story very well. That one character I originally did not like, I don't think they have a purpose in the story, unfortunately, yet. I don't get why they're there. I don't like them. But that's okay. In this volume, we did meet one new character, a new female goddess character. I don't think, it's her first time meeting Colette, but it's not her first time showing up in this series. I really, really liked her. It was the circumstances that had her come to Colette were really, really funny. I liked all of their interactions. I think she brought a lot to this volume, and this was a very fun volume. There wasn't all that much interaction with Colette and Hades in this volume, but I really, really liked the parts that we were shown in the human world with Colette, so I'm not faulting it at all. I did like Colette's side of the story more than Hades' just in this volume, but I didn't dislike Hades' side either. I liked both, just I thought Colette's was more interesting, just for me. And then super duper quick rankings for the story and the plot. The plot is still moving along. I do really like this series in that none of it feels like filler. Even though sometimes it's slower than others, we're always kind of moving towards some kind of goal. What goal? I don't know, but the story does always feel like it's moving forward. We're always meeting new characters, new things are always happening, lessons are being learned, and the consequences of things or lessons that have been learned come to play later in the story. So everything feels like it has a reason, everything feels right, if that makes sense. In terms of the characters, I love every single character except for one. That's okay, I'm allowed to dislike one, okay? My favorite character in the series, don't make me choose, I love them all, and they're all fantastic. In terms of the art style for Colette, this is a classic shoujo, fluffy, lovely art style. It complements the series so well. I really, really like it. It's clear enough that you always understand what's happening, but it's fluffy and romantic, and it's just really nice to look at. In terms of emotions felt, there were some really sweet scenes. I was never rushed with big emotions, but this is a really calming, happy series. So I was in a pleasant mood as I was reading this. In terms of readability, I do think you need, like, I don't think you can just jump into, especially this volume, and really understand everything that's happening. I do think this is the kind of series that you need to be reading in order from volume 1, but I was never confused. It's never, like, the plot isn't so complex that you're going to be confused if you're not paying, like, perfect attention on each page, but you'll miss some things. So this is a very friendly book to read, but you should be reading it in order. And then, do I recommend? It's my favorite series. Obviously, I recommend it. I think everybody should at least try volume 1, at the very least. If you don't like volume 1, I don't understand, but that's okay. But I think you should at least try volume 1. Next up is another one that I am really, really enjoying that sadly doesn't have in English, and that is Sekai de Ichiban Warui Majo, or the English translation would be The Worst Witch in the World. This is such a good series. It's a Lala HC series. You know me, you know I love Lala. This series has 7 volumes total, so I'm not even halfway done. But reading this volume made me feel like it was almost done. I was really, really stressed. This was a stressful volume, but it was still very, very good. We met one new character, kind of, in this volume, and I was so excited because there's a bunch of secrets happening around our main character Quinta in this series, and we know she's stealing the identity of the real Quinta. We don't even know if Quinta's actually her name or not, and I think kind of spoilers, but not really because it's revealed in volume 1. I think we meet Quinta in this volume, like the actual Quinta, the person who our main character stole the identity of. I think we meet her in this volume. And there's a lot of talk in this volume of like, oh, like the adventure is about to end. What do we do? Oh no, the big villain, probably maybe, has just made an appearance. Oh no. So like things are feeling like finalized. Like it feels like things are about to end because they're talking about the end a lot. And it's only volume 3 out of 7. So this had me stressed. There was like the tiniest bit of romantic development in this volume, just like the teeniest, tiniest bit. There were like bits and pieces here and there. I do really like the style of romance in this series because it is fantasy first, romance second. So it talks about the adventure, the witches, the studying, why we do what we love. Like, I might as well die if I can't do what I love. Like, it's very like a passionate series about passionate people. So like their passions come first, romance comes later. And I really like that because while I do like romance series, I like my characters to be motivated. I like them to have personalities, to be rounded characters. So the romance is very, very slow burn. So we get, I think, really 2 scenes. I'll say 2 good scenes in this volume where there's like, yeah, like the romance is starting to come like more and more, like, okay, I can see them progressing, but it's still slow enough that it feels natural, which I really, really like. I'm enjoying it. This was a really good series. I'm stressed though. I don't know if I want to read volume 4 yet or not because volume 3 ended on such a cliffhanger. I don't know what's going to happen and I'm a little bit worried. But okay, in terms of rating, in terms of story and plot, this has a very, I don't want to say complex, but like big, like a lot is happening in the story and plot that it can be confusing if you're not following like hard, like you have to be reading every single page, every single word you have to read to understand what's happening. Because our male lead here, he is a scholar, he has multiple PhDs, he talks a lot about like researching magical things, and it gets a little bit complicated. So if you really want to understand him as a character, you need to be paying a lot of attention. In terms of the characters, I like all of the characters. All of the characters are very unique. They're all different. I really like that, so that when they come together and talk to each other, so not even just our 2, like our female lead, our protagonist, and our male lead, we can see the side characters talking to each other. And I really like that because when we see them all interacting with different people, we can really see like the different sides of their personalities. I think the author did a really good job of bringing life to all of these characters because depending on who someone's talking to, they're really, really different. So like if they're talking to somebody they love, they're obviously kind, but then if they're talking to somebody they really don't trust, the kindness goes out the window. And it's just really interesting to see. I really enjoyed that. In terms of the art style, I did read some complaints that the art style was kind of hard to follow at times. Personally, I liked it. I find it to be a really charming, unique kind of art style, but I do understand why sometimes people might think it's a little bit difficult to follow. I've never had difficulties following it though. In terms of emotions felt, this one had me like on the edge of my seat. I was really like, what's gonna happen? I was anticipating things. I was antsy, which is because I thought it was gonna end. I was really confused. But so this is a really good volume. A lot happens in this volume and it was really exciting for me. In terms of readability, like I said about the plot, you need to be following along like every single line. This one, you cannot just jump in. You will be so confused. This is when you have to really be following up with, and you need to read it all at least kind of close together, because if you wait like a year in between volumes and you forget some of the details from the previous volume, you're not going to understand what's happening. At least I wouldn't. And then do I recommend? Highly, highly recommend. This is highly recommend to romantasy lovers, or at least fantasy series lovers. You have to enjoy fantasy to enjoy this one. Next one, I already did a recap for, and I'll put a link to it or like a blurb for it somewhere. This is called Sono Kao de Aisanaide. This one, as far as I know, does not have an English yet. It is a KC Kiss series with currently 3 volumes out. I've only read the first volume. I own the first 2, so I need to get the 3rd. And this is a josei series, if I'm not mistaken. This was incredible. So I bought the first 2 volumes, and then I didn't read them. And I bought them I think a year ago. I bought them so long ago, put them on my shelf, and then I just never read it. And I'm trying to read through my TBR before I buy any more manga. So I finally read volume 1. And I don't know why I waited so long to read it, because this is such a fascinatingly unique story. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It's a sad story. It's about a girl who loses her fiance, and then his twin brother surprisingly comes and tries to take his place, and she's kind of dealing with those emotions. So you have lots of loss and guilt, anger, all of the emotions that come with losing somebody. But also, because she's not able to express her grief in a normal way because of all of her circumstances, things get a little bit twisted just with our female protagonist alone. With the twin brother who comes to take his now passed away brother's place, he's just weird. We know nothing about him, and I like that. I like a mysterious male lead. I think he's going to be the male lead at least. I like a mysterious male lead. I like a male lead where I don't know what they're thinking, and I can guess. And then hopefully it'll be revealed within the next few volumes. But he has me guessing. I'm so, not confused, but I'm so I want to know what happens because I have no idea what's happening right now kind of emotion. And I'm loving this so much. In terms of my ratings, talking about the story and the plot, I've never read anything like this. It is so unique. We have a maid and the young master of a house in a secret relationship. Nobody knows about it. Young master dies suddenly. His twin brother comes to take his place, tells the maid, let's date. You could pretend I'm my brother, so you can keep on living your happy little dream life. Kind of is a really, really broad explanation of it. So unique, so good, so many emotions felt. It was so good. In terms of the characters, I did like all the characters. This one doesn't have as many prominent side characters as my previous 2 reads. We really only have our female lead and the new male lead. While there are some other characters like the other maids, the head maid, and the parents of the family, they're not really an integral part of the story. We're really following these 2 and their story. So if something, if an outside force is to affect them, sure, it'll be one of the other side characters, but we're not really shown what the side characters are thinking all that much. We're shown how it affects these 2. In terms of the art style, at first, I wasn't the biggest fan of this art style, but I think the art style complements the story in a very unique way. So the art style is very cute, I'll say, and the story is very sad. And so because of the cuteness, because of the character designs, the art style, you're not expecting the story to hit as hard as it does. And I think that's one of its strengths. It surprises you with the emotional depth of it all. And I like that. In terms of emotions felt, I felt so bad for our female lead in this story. She's such a sweet girl. She does not deserve anything that's happening to her right now. I was feeling so many emotions when I was reading this. It does a good job of portraying grief and then beyond grief. So I was feeling sad right along with her. In terms of readability, just this one volume, I was never confused. I think it's very, very straightforward. It's easy to follow. Even though we're talking about big emotions, it's portrayed very well. You'll never be confused when reading this, I don't think, at least. And then do I recommend this? I really, really liked this. I would recommend it. I think it's a really good series. Yeah. You have to be okay with sad stories, though, because if you're not okay with sad stories and you read this, you're probably going to be upset. Moving on, I read volume 3 of Himokuzu Hana-kun wa Shinitagari. So this one should come with a whole bunch of content warnings. This is a series where a lot happens. And this one has 3 volumes in Japanese, and it's a Casey Dessert series, so it's a Kodansha series. This was recently announced that I think it's getting a digital English publication, and I think K manga, if I'm not mistaken. And I just want to preface, the announcement made this seem like a silly little rom-com series. It's not a silly little rom-com, literally, and they translated the title differently too. I have a bone to pick with them about this series. The Japanese title, if you translate it literally into English, like a himo otoko is like a man who like doesn't spend money on dates. Like he's really good at like buttering you up, like a scummy man. And kuzu means like scum. So like Himokuzu Hana, because his name is Hana. So like the scummy Hana wa Shinitagari, wants to die. So scummy Hana wants to die is like the title, like somewhat translated. So this is not a fun rom-com. He and also her are kind of like not in the best place in life. They find each other, and they're incredibly, incredibly awful influences on each other. Like the worst kind of influence you could have on each other. And they're incredibly, incredibly codependent. They end up doing literally everything together. They move in together. She doesn't really want him to live with her, but he's living with her. And he kind of threatens her and then backs off and then goes, like, she has Stockholm syndrome basically because of him. And he is known to be like, he does this with a bunch of girls. Apparently, we don't know. Like, he's kind of a playboy. Nobody knows his real name. He moves in with different people, leeches off of them, and then disappears. So we don't know anything about him until volume 3, actually. We know he's scum. We know he's like a mysterious man who, like, technically he's homeless. We don't know anything about him. So when in volume 3, we do learn a little bit more about him, and it just makes him more scummy, if anything. He's basically like, you, to the female lead, you will be with me forever or else. Like, it's kind of threatening, and she is just chill with it at this point because she is fully, like, she has Stockholm syndrome. She's fully in it. She's like, okay, cool, like, we'll be all we need, like, it's fine. It's a series I'm enjoying because I like horror and romance, and this is a horror story. But it is a fun series. Like, it is kind of unique in that it is like a aggressive romance compared to like most of the fluffy romances that are out right now. It's a lot, and you have to be ready for it to be a lot when you're reading it. So let's read it. In terms of the story and the plot, personally, I really am enjoying the story and the plot. I am enjoying slowly but surely learning more about Hana-kun, and I really do wish our female lead would begin at least trying to somewhat stand up for herself, because all of the problems she had in volume 1 are still there volume 3. So she has made absolutely no progress in 3 volumes. She is the exact same person, in my opinion, that she was in the first volume. So I'm hoping, like, even if she goes further down the deep end and gets worse, I want something. I want some kind of change in her. Hana-kun, we learn more about at the very least, and he's still crazy. He's doing just different crazy things in each volume, but we don't really learn all that much about her compared to Hana-kun. So I want she's our protagonist. I want to know more about her. In terms of the characters, there's really only one prominent side character and then one like kind of villainous, I guess, character. And they're really not all that involved in the story, though both do make an appearance in this volume. It's really about these two. And I like them both. I think I don't want to say they work well together. They work terribly together, but I really do like their, like how they interact with each other. I am enjoying their story, though it is a dysfunctional story. The art style is beautiful. It's very, like, it does a good job of showing the darkness of the story in case you weren't already feeling it by the contents. I do really, really like the art style. In terms of emotions felt, I felt concern, but that's really it. I don't, like, well, there is romance. It is a dark romance, so I can't really be like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't get, like, all that excited because it's so dark. I feel bad for both characters. And yeah, but I'm enjoying it. Like, it's a fun series. I do like this kind of romance. Feels weird to say, but I do. And yeah, so like, it's not the romance that I would ever want in my life, but I am enjoying reading about it because it's well told. It's a very good story. It's just dark. In terms of readability, I think it's pretty easy to follow along. There isn't like that heavy of a plot. Even if you were just to read volume 3, you would understand everything you need to know, in my opinion, about both characters. You should start from volume 1, but it's not so heavy that you like wouldn't understand jumping in halfway through. And then, do I recommend this? Honestly, if you're okay with things getting a little bit dark, yes, I do enjoy this story. I am, like, it's a fun, dark story. I've been enjoying it since volume 1. I enjoyed volume 3 just as much as volume 1. Just you have to be ready. So like there is a little bit of like domestic violence. There is a little bit of bloodshed. Like there's some stuff, like a little bits of stuff here and there. So you have to be okay with the story going to some darker places in order to enjoy the story. Moving on to something lighter. I finally finished this series, which is called Yankee no Ashizawa-kun ni koi o shita. Volume 2. This is a GC Pixiv. Oh, you do know this one, yeah. GC Pixiv. And it's published by Square Enix. Or Square Enix. I never know how to pronounce them. But nevertheless, this was a very fun series. This one took me so long to finish just because I could not get my hands on volume 2. I actually had to order this from Amazon, which was not cheap, but I wanted to finish it. And I'm glad I did. This is a really sweet series. I'm pretty sure it started off in a web comic format because this reads so much like a web comic. Some chapters will be like normal chapter length, and then in between 2 chapters, we'll have like 10 one-page mini chapters, which is why it feels like a web comic to me. And also at the beginning of almost every chapter, it does a tiny recap, which is very indicative of a web comic, at least to me. But I really, really did enjoy this one. The ending, because this is only 2 volumes, I was so worried about the ending. I didn't think it would be like actually conclusive. I didn't think I would be satisfied with it. Safe to say though, I was very, very satisfied with it. I think it ended in the perfect way. Like the perfect way. The romance in this was so nice. It slowly built up. It went from one-sided loves to 2 one-sided loves to one of them realizing the other's one-sided love to a confession. It was so well told. The pacing was perfect, especially for a 2-volume series. I can't compliment it enough. I really, really enjoyed this one. So let's get to rating it. In terms of story and plot, I really liked it. It is pretty simple. It's about a manga author and her Yankee assistant. He aspires to be a manga author. She just happens to be his favorite manga author. And his aspiration is to basically become level with her. So he also wants to become a famous manga author or a mangaka. And then he wants to date her. He doesn't want to ask her out while he's like beneath her. So he wants to work to better himself so that he can ask her out. And I just think that's so sweet. I love that. It's so cute. In terms of the characters, we really only see them. There is one other assistant character that sometimes makes an appearance but then gets sick whenever we need some extra romance between them, which is kind of funny. We also meet his friends in volume 2, but they're not really like a big part of the story. So we really only see these two, and I like them both. They're really, really cute together. Their personalities are kind of opposite, but somehow they still work really well together. They're just cute. In terms of the art style, I think it's nice. I don't think it's like the most unique or like craziest art style ever, but I do really like it. I think it's very pretty. In terms of emotions felt, like some scenes were cute, some scenes were funny, but they were never like overly cute or overly funny that I was really feeling like big emotions. But I enjoyed the entirety of this series. In terms of readability, because it's written in that webcomic format where it recaps things like every chapter, you could start at the very last chapter, I feel, and you wouldn't be all that confused. It's very readable. And then do I recommend this? I do. It's really, really cute. You can read it all in just 2 volumes. I don't know if there's an English for this. I really hope there is, but I don't think there is. This should get an English publication. It's only 2 volumes and it's cute, and I highly recommend it. Okay, moving on to my English reads now. That's right. I read in English this week. I gotta like cover it though. I read volume 2 of MADK. This is gonna be a quick recap or a quick like review because I can't say all that much about MADK. If you know the series, you know why. This is a horror BL series. So personally, BL isn't my favorite kind. I don't want to say genre because it's not really a genre. People call it a demographic, but it's also not really a demographic. So it's like, what is it? I don't know. Tell me if you know. But I'll say like kind of manga so I can talk about it. So BL, it's not really my favorite. Like there are some series that I like. Like I liked Fangs quite a bit. Comic Party Wonderlove I liked. Killing Stalking I really liked. So there are some that I like, but it's not a type of manga that I really gravitate to. Like more often than not, I dislike it rather than like it. So typically, I don't always go for it. But with MADK, I learned I love a good horror BL. So Fangs is kind of horror BL. I liked that. There's also Stalker, which is one of my favorites, about 3 men all stalking each other. That's a horror BL. I love it. Killing Stalking, obviously horror BL. MADK. Big horror. So that's a new like type of manga and genre that I like put together. I think they work really well together for some reason. And MADK is like an extreme horror. It has like every content warning that you could possibly imagine. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. I was really okay with this. It never like shook me. I was a little bit surprised at some of the places that it went, but I was never so surprised that I had to put the book down. Like it never was able to actually gross me out. I really do like horror. Like it's hard to really gross me out. And this was like just horror enough that it really kept me on my toes, but not so horror that I was like, I need to step away. I need to put this down. Very, very good. The mood flip-flops between like a little bit silly to like, oh, that's a scary character, really, really well. And it does it, like it paces itself. It's so good. In volume 2, we're seeing the very, very slow descent of our protagonist, Makoto, as he becomes more and more demonic. I think it's safe to say he's already like a demon. He's this pretty scary demon in this volume, but we're seeing him become more and more demonic. He's very good at playing the games in the demon world, and he's getting better and better. And we just follow him in this volume, and it's very good. And when I bought this at the bookstore, this is meant to be plastic wrapped, okay? It's a scary book. Scary things happen in it. It was meant to be plastic wrapped, but it wasn't, because I guess the bookstore I went to didn't plastic wrap anything, or they opened everything, which is silly of them. And the cashier opened the book to put the receipt in, as they do, and the look she gave me, and I can only imagine what page she opened to. I can't go back to that bookstore. That was real embarrassing. But okay, let's talk about my ratings. In terms of story and plot, I am loving the story and the plot. This is very, very unique. I've never read anything like this. In a good way. Like, I really am enjoying it. It's like, it's filling a hole in my life that I didn't know existed, but I'm happy. I'm happy to have it. In terms of art style, the art style, I think, is one of the best things that conveys the shifting between kind of silly to like, oh, that's scary, based on really the characters' facial expressions. I think the author does such a wonderful job of portraying like a happy, like a normal happiness to like a twisted happiness, if that makes sense. They did such a good job. So good. The characters, all of the characters, and we meet a lot of characters. I think there is a new character in volume 2. I think all of the characters in the series are so interesting. I like all the character designs. It's so fun. We do see, as Makoto raises the ranks, we're seeing other characters and how that affects them. It affects most of them poorly. I feel like everybody that Makoto meets is a little bit worse after meeting him. In terms of spookiness, it goes places. It's a spooky story. I don't think it's like spooky in that, like, there's no like jump scares, because how would there really be a jump scare in a manga? But like the idea of basically everything that happens in this volume is terrifying. It is so scary, so scary. And then some of the scenes that are drawn are also scary. So I do think it's pretty spooky. Do I recommend this? I want to say yes, but you have to really, really, really like horror in order to like this one. I have some friends that heard that I recommended it because I like it, and they tried to read it and they were like, Maddie, what did you recommend to me? I had to apologize. So if you really, really, really like horror and you want something new, then yes, I recommend MADK. But you have to really, really, really like horror. Okay, moving on. This was, I think, my least favorite read of the week, sadly, and that is Vampeerz. I was really, really hoping I would like it because vampire stuff I always like. I really liked, I think, the first half of this volume. I thought it was cute. It is a Yuri series, so it's like a girls' love series about a girl who meets a vampire who was friends with her grandma. And it talks about their story. I thought it was cute for like the first half. I really, really liked their relationship. The vampire made a request of our protagonist that she didn't want to do. She wants to spend more time with the vampire, and we're shown like her resolve to keep the vampire in her life. I really, really liked that. I thought they were both really, really interesting characters. I'm saying really, really a lot. But I did like it for the first half. The second half, we're introduced to a new character that I could not. I will spoil it a little bit because it's just volume 1, but we meet the vampire's like mother. I don't know if she's actually her mother or not, but it's like an adult character, and she like preys upon the teenagers. Like, it's really weird. I can't get into that. I don't like adult teenager. I can't do it. It's really difficult for me to do age gap stuff when it's clear that the two characters are different ages. If it's like an 800-year-old vampire who looks 18 and an actual 18-year-old person, sure, they look the same age. I can get into the fantasy. I'm okay. But if it's an 800-year-old vampire who looks like they're in their like 40s or 50s and a 14-year-old kid, I cannot do that. I cannot do that at all. I can't, like, no. So that was, unfortunately, it was kind of a hard line for me. I know this is a popular series, and for people who can get over the mother character, it's a fantastic series. But I can't, it kind of ruined it for me, unfortunately. So I don't think I'll be continuing this one. Last one, I read a light novel. I read this in like 2 days. So Villains Are Destined to Die is a series that, do I have it here? I have read almost all, if not all, of the current chapters of the manhwa digitally, and I only have volume 1 so far. I'm hoping to collect all of the manhwa because I love this series so much. I also got this little cutout card. Love it so much. I obviously have Penelope out front because why would I choose him, you know? And then why is he on the cover and not Penelope? Eyes press. I have a bone to pick with you. No, I actually won this in a giveaway with Eyes Press, so I love them forever for that. But this was so good. I'm so upset that I have to wait until next year to read volume 2. I don't know why, because I read all of my like manhwa on Tapas, which is an app for reading manhwa, and you can read light novels on there, or like the original novels on Tapas, the same way you can read the manhwa. Just I never did. I don't know why. I know that I've read like the book form of volume 1. I don't want to start reading it digitally. I want to continue reading it physically, because there's something just about reading a book in your hands that's so nice. But okay, this was really, really good. I think I enjoyed this more than the manhwa, just because it goes more into the plot. We know more about the characters' feelings. I like envisioning things in my head, and I already really, really like the series. So this was just like a little treat for myself to get into it just a little bit more, because it's been so long since I started the series that I kind of forgot some of the details in everything that happens in volume 1. So it was really, really nice to relive it through the novel. And I'm just so excited for volume 2. I cannot wait. Some of the characters were like a tiny bit different than I remembered, like especially with the prince. I feel like he was supposed to make at least one more appearance in this volume than he did, but that just made me misremembering things. Overall, I liked this. The hunting festival is coming up, which I'm really, really excited for. But there's that one character who does things. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was spoiled for me when I started reading it, and then I was reminded that it was spoiled for me when I was reading it. It was spoiled for me when I was reading the manhwa, and then I was reminded that it was spoiled for me on Twitter while I was reading this. And so like every time I remembered that character and what they did, I got a little bit upset. So I have to get over that. But the prince is my favorite character out of all of the men. So I'm really, really excited for him to come back. Obviously, Penelope is my favorite character because she's Penelope, but I'm so excited. I read this so fast. Like, I can't believe I read it so fast. Normally, I'm a slow reader when it comes to like word books, non-picture books, but this it sucked me right in. It was so good. And that is everything that I read last week. Hopefully, I'll be able to make like a review recap kind of video for at least some of what I read. Hopefully, because I do like explaining the plots, especially for the Japanese only series, and like in the hopes that they will one day be picked up in English. Yeah.